All right, and we're back. So, how are you, man?
Pretty good. Another early morning. Setup has changed again. We're still figuring this out as we go.
The studio is still looking pretty nice.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, right.
I've changed very little.
Very little. We should add something right here. I noticed that you have a lot more. Do you have a lot more plans to put more stuff around the entire walls?
I'm hoping that as we go on, there are slowly things that change, and I'm probably gonna add more stuff to the wall. I don't know. We'll see. We'll figure it out.
Are you gonna put stuff on the ceiling? I have a flag on the ceiling of my room.
Probably not on the ceiling.
Okay.
I don't think anyone really cares about that.
Do you know that attitude?
I don't think anyone really cares about that.
Okay, you know what? That's gonna be a new thing. I'm gonna try to put in posters on the ceiling.
No.
Yes.
No, we're not doing this.
It's gonna work. So, we were talking about this earlier. So, the One Piece live action is on the way. Of course, a lot of people... This is going to be a live action episode, by the way. Literally, you see us live in action. And so the thing is, One Piece live action's announced, I'm not sure how much long ago, like a couple weeks ago.
I think someone was saying they're aiming for 2021.
That's honestly very soon.
Very soon.
Yeah, so if they're going for 2021, they're probably working on it like right now kind of deal. And Oda's on top of it, right?
He's I think he's an executive producer. He's like helping supervise it or something like that. To an extent he is involved. He has put out statements talking about his involvement. To what extent, I'm not sure.
Have they released the full staff on who's going to be working on it?
They did release the writer's name. I completely forgot his name, but I do know that from what I've seen in the past, he's expressed that he is a One Piece fan, and I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe he has spoken to Oda personally.
Cool.
And so to some extent, I have some faith in the adaptation, but
it's like
considering America's
those only words from Oda is like, hey, don't mess this up. He's like, yes, sir. Because or the history of like live actions, it's been pretty much...
That's what I'm saying. The history of live actions.
It's not too good.
It's not good.
And
there's very few live actions that are actually pretty decent.
It's one of the few pieces of news that when it's announced, it garners more just like disappointment right off the bat. So if they announce saying, "Oh, hey, there's gonna be," I don't know, like, oh look, there's gonna be I was gonna say Pokemon live action, but then Detective Pikachu apparently was a hit. I've yet to watch that.
Yeah,
but if they were to announce like, oh, there's gonna be Yu Yu Hakusho live action, I immediately reel back and go, oh man, like.
I mean, I think it honestly depends on your topic or the thing that you're trying to adapt into live action. A lot of the things like even both sides, like American and Japanese, don't necessarily do it well.
Right.
They can. So it depends on your subject matter. So like, I think if it's something that you're adapting, an anime that you're adapting into live action, that's more of a slice of life. There's no like supernatural
like
things
special effects. So imagine trying to do like
any crazy like story. I think it works well because you have real people. All you need is a setting.
Right.
An example, Erased on you can watch on Netflix. This is not sponsored by Netflix in any way.
Not yet.
Sure, it has some sort of supernatural element to it, but for the majority of it, like I would say like 90% of it,
it's easy to pull off.
Yeah, it's easy to pull off. It's realistic, and it worked really well. Like my girlfriend and I, we really enjoyed watching it because we thought it was done well. Another one that I think that came out recently, from what she told me, is the Wotakoi live action.
Oh, I love that.
Which is like the the nerds fall in love sort of thing. And
so it's just a generic love story.
It's just generic love story, office story, and they did pretty well. At least from what I've heard. We haven't actually seen it.
It's easier because when you look at big production settings, there's always things of like budget, special effects. I assume like Ghost in the Shell was probably hard to do because you're set in a futuristic setting.
Yeah,
you have a lot of things to like.
Well, I mean, it also depends on what format you're doing. I would think. Like, if it's a movie format, I'd assume you have a bigger budget for certain things. If you're at a TV budget, like, not even just, like, animated to live action, just some live actions in general. For for a TV series. You know, the CG isn't going to be that great.
Like, imagine doing a Mob Psycho 100 like live action.
Oh,
like,
you know.
The budget would be so high because you have to, or it'd be like really dumb. Like, oh look, I'm gonna lift a rock. But, like in the show, he does so much more than lift rocks.
Yeah, and so I mean, there is a Mob Psycho live action actually.
You're joking.
I'm pretty sure there is. I haven't seen it. Yeah, I actually haven't seen it, but I'm pretty sure there is a live action.
But this is what I say when I don't keep up with like live action announcements kind of deal. It's again, whenever they talk about it, I instantly just like put it in the back of my mind, and it's not something I search for openly. I don't go on Google and go like, oh, is there a like Hunter x Hunter live action? And even if there is, I'm gonna be like, well, I'm not gonna check it out.
Yeah, I'm typically not one to be looking for live action series. You know, for the most part, you're looking for anime. Yeah,
and I always think that live actions are stepping stones for people to obviously consume the anime, just like and vice versa. Anime is there for people to consume the manga. Kind of
going back to One Piece, my biggest fear, which it will probably come true, is the fact that the One Piece live action is going to be a lot of people around the world's first taste of One Piece.
And if it's received negatively,
it won't do. Like, it's gonna pretty much be like, so the Netflix adaptation is gonna be the 4Kids adaptation of Netflix or live action. So it's kind of, I mean, I'm sure it's not gonna be that bad, but if you don't know, like One Piece's 4Kids localization was the reason why One Piece didn't do so well in the States. And so if people's first interpretation or first impression of One Piece is from the live action doesn't do well, you know how much hope is there for the series, or it could do really well and people are going to want to watch the anime. I don't know,
right? Because I always like to, everyone when it talks about live action always come up Dragon Ball Evolution. Always likes to be brought up in conversation, and I've yet to fully watch the movie, and I'll be honest, I did give it a chance like 8 years later after it released. It was like on like TV, and so I was like, okay, let me give it a shot. First 5 minutes I couldn't handle it. Mm-hmm. And even seeing like some articles come out where the director, creator, I don't know whoever's in charge of the whole project, admitted saying they didn't know a thing about Dragon Ball. They just want to make money.
Yeah,
I think that was just bad luck just for Dragon Ball, honestly. Because if someone else took on the project, maybe that person would have been like, hey, let's try to do this right, or at least try to tell the story right. One Piece, it's already looking like someone is taking control in a good way. You know?
I mean, to bring up like another like train wreck of a adaptation, whether or not you agree this is anime.
I know where you're going with this.
Well, Avatar: The Last Airbender. We know how that adaptation went, and it's the same deal where M. Night Shyamalan in this case, he only created the live action because his kids enjoyed the show, and I think he only watched like 3 episodes of Avatar.
He's like, boom, I know what the show's about.
And so, you know, like, it's true. Like, you kind of need someone who respects the source material to some extent. You don't want it one for one per se, but you need someone who respects it enough to at least care for the series, the characters, and, you know, be able to do some sort of right by it. And when Shyamalan obviously didn't.
Yeah, and when you think about live action movies are also, because there's always that question of like, who's this for? I always think live actions are for the fan bases kind of deal.
You would think.
Yeah, you would think, because it never crosses my mind to think myself, you know what would get people to watch One Piece if we made a movie about it? And it's like, why not just watch One Piece? Why not just watch Dragon Ball kind of deal? And it's, let's say, I'm not hoping it happens. Let's just say One Piece doesn't do well. And what do you think is gonna like really help the argument at that point for people to get into this franchise? Having a terrible movie and then having all of us One Piece fans being like, no, don't watch the movie. And you just have a bunch of people yelling at you, wanting to consume the media and trying to like shun away this like horrible thing that was created. It's kind of like hard at that point for people to be like, I should still give this a chance, but already you guys are giving off a weird vibe.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
It just adds too much to it.
It's hard to even argue to some people who are stuck in their ways after just seeing the one thing, but it's like you haven't seen the original,
right?
You know? So at least maybe give it a chance. I know a lot of people are planning to potentially watch this to see if it's a train wreck or not,
right?
But if this is your first time watching One Piece in any form, you should definitely at least read it or watch some of the anime, because you're gonna get a better experience that way. I obviously don't know for sure, but I can already tell you off the top of my head that the guy that's writing it and drawing it, he's directly involved in the manga.
And I also want to know, like, for other bad live actions, like, were there any people out there who were like, man, that Death Note live action was awful, I should check out the original? Like, for people who have never consumed Death Note, period, because I would regard Death Note as a pretty old series. And then this far down the line, Death Note came out.
Oh, like the Netflix adaptation. The Netflix
adaptation. God. Because Death Note was out before Netflix and all this stuff. So I always like to think, if there's anyone out there that became fans of the anime or manga because of hearing how bad the live action was. You know what I mean?
I get what you're saying, because like typically people who already knew what Death Note was are going to be the ones that are watching the adaptation to see what it's like, right?
Yeah.
I guess that begs the question of what you're saying, like, is it the other way, where do you have someone who's seen the adaptation but went to go read the manga or watch the anime? Right. I mean, I'm hoping someone did, but not everyone. So I guess you could kind of relate it in a way of like live action movies for books. How many people watch the movies and then go back to read the books? I don't know. Like, not many people do.
Apparently, like the Lord of the Rings movies were supposed to be all like double their time because there's like so much information to cover. Mm-hmm. And obviously, because a book, like, there's a lot. There's so much information to press in, and then again, budget, time, whoever's directing, is this information even worth it to the audience or not, or kind of deal, and details. So again, of course, I'm under the assumption that One Piece, when it's adapted, they are going to gloss over a lot of details, or maybe they're going to make their own story. I wouldn't be against them making a story from the ground up of like, hey, here's this crew, here's the first battle, giving you guys a taste of what they do. Now here's like an island that they ran into that's canon, not canon, kind of deal. Like, we don't have to do the first arc, or we don't have to do the
arc. We know so far that I believe it has 10 episodes ordered, and it's gonna cover some of the East Blue arc. So we'll see.
So let's assume like first 10 episodes are all 1 hour long episodes, and like first 3 are like getting the crew together.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Like, we have to see where the pacing is. Like when you go to live action, the pacing is definitely going to be different. Like, an example of, in my opinion, very bad pacing for a live action adaptation is the Fullmetal Alchemist Japanese live action adaptation.
I have yet to watch it because I watched that GIF of Gluttony.
Oh my god,
Gluttony. He's like, then it just looks like a mascot.
Yeah. So for the most part, the adaptation was cool because I thought the characters are really well done, like Al's CG, the alchemy CG, the character design. I thought that
Ed
was
looked really well attractive.
Yeah, it was really well done. To me, that was up to this. Like, I think the casting was pretty well done too. Like, I thought the casting was pretty spot on. The pacing was awful. It kind of went through a lot of events way too quickly. And towards the end, it kind of just escalated from some sort of climax. I mean, like, to me, for how much that they were trying to cover and the amount of time that was given, it definitely was not enough time.
And you're not selling it well to me now.
It's worth watching for the memes, I guess, for the Gluttony.
Oh, man.
But for the most part, it was kind of bad, and I was pretty disappointed by it. I mean,
fair enough.
I probably shouldn't have come in with high hopes. But it was pretty bad.
So wait, what live action movie were you going in with live hopes? Like, out of your entire history right now?
So one that really disappointed me, because I was in this mentality that, like, if it's made in Japan, there's no potential way they could fuck it up, or like, they'd respect the material in some way.
You underestimate their power, man, and so no one's perfect.
Yeah, and that was my mistake, and now I kind of just don't trust in any live actions. But my biggest disappointment going into live action was the Attack on Titan one. Oh man!
There was an Attack on Titan.
Yeah, that was a dumpster fire for me.
The posters look great.
It looked good. Like, there was so much advertisement for it. I remember everyone getting so excited
because during the time it was like the biggest thing.
Yeah, it was the biggest thing, and there were all these commercials. There was like that commercial with the car getting chased by the Titan and stuff. Right. And I thought that was really cool. I was like, damn, like they're really going at this advertising. It looks great. There's no way Japan could let me down.
It's almost as if they advertise like too much, it's kind of like, what are you hiding here?
Well, I don't know. Like, so if you haven't watched it, I guess spoilers ahead, but
I don't think anyone cares about spoilers when
it's
live action.
Yeah,
movies.
so So what's wrong with it is like they changed a lot of different things. So like one Mikasa, she was like completely submissive.
That's what I heard, and I didn't,
which
like
was really bad because Mikasa is a badass.
Yeah, she's strong-willed,
and they made her submissive to a man, which I was like, oh come on, you're disrespecting the best girl. And then another issue that I had was well, I mean, I thought it was kind of cool, but like they added like baby titans. And these baby titans were kind of just
there are titans that were large that looked like babies, like the way.
Yeah, they were like baby titans.
Did the titans at least look terrifying when they attacked you?
Yeah, that's the thing. I thought they were, scary. Well, I mean, like, to an extent, but like
I heard they were using cannons to take them down. Like they were using like conventional ways to take down monsters.
Yeah, and so that's what I'm saying. Like it was such a letdown to watch, and I think it actually did get a sequel. I think.
I mean, if there's money in it and people loved it, then sure. But again, I want to know how many people were like, "Wow, that was Attack on Titan. That's what everyone keeps talking about. Let's delve into it. And, like, give us a sequel."
So I don't know. Like that was just definitely one that I like went into and was just like, "Oh God."
So on the other side, one live action that I've yet to watch all of them. Like, I don't even watch anime anymore. And here we are on an anime podcast. I'm working on it. One thing that made me really happy was that one night when we got together with the crew and we watched the Rurouni Kenshin live action, the first one. I have yet to see all of them, but after watching the first Rurouni Kenshin live action movie, I was really, really surprised.
Yeah, it wasn't bad.
Yeah, they toned down some of the things that understandably supposed to be toned down. Like Sonosuke's not going to have a sword that's like 8 feet tall. They put it down to at least he's the guy with the large sword, and then they kept going with it. So it was well done, and the main character really did have that Kenshin vibe. They kept all of his mannerisms in there, which made me really happy. And so, and it's still like the story is still there. The story is he was a murderer, that kind of deal, and they go off by that in the first arc, and well done. And so that's why there's some faith when it comes to live action movies. But like you said in the beginning, how if there's not really much supernatural things to it, it can be done.
Yeah.
Like there are hundreds of samurai sword movies.
Yeah.
And Kenshin is just like another one.
Another one in the match,
but so it's something that is given to us as a fan base.
Yeah, yeah.
But then like on the other side you have like, I don't know, you have things like Erased. No, not Erased. Erased is really good. You have things like, Dragon Ball Evolution, which is like complete opposite, and that's ruined by Americans. I even heard I have yet to see any other news on it. I'm not sure if it's still going, but the movie Your Name, that's supposed to be
a live action adaptation.
Yeah.
I remember that synopsis. It was like they were gonna put it in Chicago and change it to some sort of indigenous, like Native American
girl. Thing. So right off the bat, you're just like, I don't know, man. Like, I'm not feeling
like I think things like that. So it really depends. Like, I think Hollywood kind of just needs to, find someone who's more in tune with these series and respects it, and they really need to understand that not everything can adapt well, or if they're gonna adapt it, like, it doesn't have to be adapted for an American setting. I mean, I guess you kind of have to, considering like where you want to adapt it. It's a Hollywood film now, and they want to try to make it relatable, but to some extent.
But in the beginning, can't they just put like based on a story in Japan, or can't they say like based on
like the hit movie, or
based on the popular movie Your Name?
I mean, I guess so, because I don't know what's up with, like, it's so weird because like you want to agree on the idea that like they need to adapt it for American audiences and relate it to people in America, but at the same time it's like, well, you're changing the story and it's not going to be good anymore, or it might not be good anymore. Like, I think the idea of changing the I guess magical aspect of it and turning it to some sort of indigenous Native American thing, one is kind of like,
why?
No, it's like been there, done that. That's kind of things in the past. Like, we're still doing Native American magic thing. Like, I don't know. That's kind of weird.
Yeah.
And two, the Shintoism. I believe the Shintoism in Your Name is very important to its story.
Right. The whole, like, what is the equivalent in American culture of the whole connecting red thread? Mm-hmm. Like, I guess to us, we always say, "Oh, that's fate." Are we just going to say, like, oh, people are connected by fate, but then we're not going to show the red string? Because, it's like those small details in Japanese culture that, like, we have to either find similarities in American culture. That's going to be really hard.
But, like, what connection? Like, how strong is that connection? How well will it translate over,
Yeah. I don't know. That's... With Hollywood taking over... like live action movies sometimes. Like, isn't there a Akira live action movie that's gonna happen in the US?
I believe it got tabled, though. I was actually really excited about that one. So
I am too.
There were a lot of different like things getting passed around for directors. I think at one point, potentially Jordan Peele was gonna direct it.
Jordan Peele,
or at least he was in talks to, or rumors, and I was like really hyped for it because I was like, damn, like I want Jordan Peele to direct this. And then and then at some point, I think it was like confirmed that Taika Waititi, I believe that's how you pronounce. I don't know how you pronounce his last name. Sorry if I butchered that. He directed Thor Ragnarok. You saw that, right?
Yes, I did.
So he
wants to
Thor
take
Ragnarok.
on Akira.
He was gonna direct Akira. And the reason why I was really excited for him is because, well, one, Thor Ragnarok was great, so I believe his directing ability, and then I believe Taika wanted to respect, you know, the story of Akira and like keep Asian characters, you know.
And it kind of makes sense because Thor Ragnarok was kind of like that future. It's the futuristic kind of
I would think it could translate really well into Akira. And the thing about, you know, Akira, that it's heavily like Tokyo, Neo-Tokyo Japanese, you know, like you can't take it out of that context.
Right. And it's such an iconic film, like regarded by a lot of people who are into film, that's it's almost as if you got to make it perfect for everyone. This isn't just for our fan base.
Yeah, Akira is such a cult classic. Exactly. Like, not even just like anime fans know what Akira is. Like a lot of people in the 80s, like they've watched Akira.
Right.
You know, it is that cult classic.
Or even and it's like, oh, I don't watch anime, but I've seen that movie.
Yeah,
and it's like,
exactly.
for sure. That's why there is some confidence for me when it comes to people doing live actions, is because in agreement everyone knows that's a great piece of art, don't F it up kind of deal. Because if you have anime fans, which I would still regard as, even though anime is more mainstream now, but we're still kind of like a small voice in the media world, having us complain, oh, you guys better do it right, a lot of the people in control of the movies are going to be like, you know, that's just a bunch of nerds and like we don't have to listen to them kind of deal. But then when you get...
We're your biggest market.
Yeah, well, like, you guys are making this for us, right? And no, we're making it for everyone else that's not an anime fan. It's like, well, we're everywhere now, so you guys got to do it right. So, but the thing is, like, you know, we can't tell them what to do. We can't tell them what to adapt. Like, for me, I remember way back, I'm not sure if you've watched Afro Samurai, but there was actually, like, supposed to be an Afro Samurai live action, but I have no idea what happened. I think it got axed. I don't know, because I should have brought it. I have an Afro Samurai headband that says Afro Samurai liveaction.com. It's still in, like, Samuel L. Jackson, who's the main like guy behind all of Afro Samurai, like mostly with the voices and stuff like that, and the RZA was like part of the music. They were both gonna be helping
on that project.
But this was no crap, like this was like 2012 2013, so I have no idea where it is today. No, do people want it? I don't know. There's nobody really wants it, but all I want from like Hollywood and everyone else is just to do it to a point where it's properly enough for the fans. Because already as fans, we're always marketing anime to everyone else.
Yeah.
And so we don't need a live action movie to market another anime series. It's just that thought always plays in my head, like, oh, this would be cool. This would be a cool live action movie, but that's not the highest priority.
Yeah. I mean, I just feel like, not necessarily Japan, but I would think more America.
More US, yeah.
They'll see like the success and the impact of a certain series and be like, oh shoot, we need to make a live action out of that. So I guess big examples is like the fact that, like, you know, One Piece is getting one. It was big in Japan, so they're gonna want to adapt that. Right. I believe there's like a Naruto one that's in the works, or at least in talks or something, by, I think it's Legendary, I don't know. And then Bebop, you know, that one's actually filming.
That's one I am excited for, but weary about as well, because I'm a huge fan of Bebop, but again, track record isn't looking too good. Yeah. But it's possible. Overall, it is possible. Like, I always look at, like,
I'm excited for the casting.
Yeah, I saw the casting for it.
John Cho as Spike Spiegel.
Yeah,
I'd be down for that. I mean, he got injured on set, so they had to postpone it.
So he's probably going for it. He probably knows
he's really going for it.
There you go. So, and the thing is, it doesn't have to follow, because Bebop, it's such a sporadic story.
Yeah, it's so episodic.
Yeah, thank you. Episodic, where you could just be like, oh, here's another. I mean, the selling point for people who haven't watched Bebop, it's already something people will eat up. Here's a bunch of space hunters in space who are bounty hunters, try to make money, and will they do it? We don't know. Here's the first episode. There you go.
Yeah, it's crazy antics.
Yeah, and crazy antics. So they're probably gonna like be fighting a bunch of space pirates. I don't know. So it could work for both people who aren't fans of Bebop, if looking from the outside, and who are fans of Bebop, who could just say, wow, this is just another part of their story. Because you don't know what other adventures they had leading up to the big finale at the end. So it can work. And I want to see what they do here, because I always like to dream. So, like, you remember the movie Pacific Rim? And how they did giant robots?
Yeah.
I want a Gundam movie. Because I
mean, we got Gundams in Ready Player One.
Exactly. When I saw, so I haven't watched Ready Player One, and I've read the book.
Yeah.
And I love that book. Because I love references. I love all these like nerd references left and right. And so when I saw that trailer and I saw the RX-78 flying through the sky, I screamed so loud. I was just like, yes. So the thing is, it's there and it's possible.
It is possible.
So like if they were to say, hey, we're gonna do a live action movie of the first like Gundam series with like the RX-78 with like Amuro Ray and all that stuff, I'd be so down for that, because it can be done. But then you could ruin my expectations by not taking that route.
The thing is, America has so many resources that they could do it. They just got to do it right.
Yeah, and we have to trust the people who are gonna do it to do it right.
Yeah.
And so, but the thing is, from what it looks like right now, there have been more bad than good.
Yeah, because...
And that's just like anime.
Because executive producers in Hollywood don't really get what anime fans want from a live action. They kind of just don't care about us. Like you said before, we're just some nerds.
Yeah, and look at, not going deep into award ceremonies, but, like actual anime movies get snubbed all the freaking time.
Yeah.
And like we get no looks over there. Maybe they really did think Boss Baby was better than whatever came out that year. I don't know.
I think that was the year for Your Name.
Yeah, or Your Name, or
Silent
Voice.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe that there's something I'm not seeing in Boss Baby. I haven't watched it. Maybe it is better. I don't know.
Live action adaptation of Boss Baby?
Of a bit. They would. Like live action emoji movie.
So that's as live action as possible as like the Lion King movie. It's still CG.
That's the thing too. Is like, so we're getting like a live action Mulan, and it's almost like you're saying how they're gonna do it right, but you can see the tone of Mulan where it's like not. I heard they're not gonna have the training montage.
Yeah, it's a more serious film. It's not
Yeah.
magical musical whatsoever.
Right. So are you for that?
Yeah,
Like
I'm actually down for it.
It makes sense
with the
it's a
tone
war
of the
scene.
movie. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think they're adapting it well, at least, because not everything translates well to a live action. Like I guess going back to One Piece again, because I know a lot about One Piece, so
Really.
Yeah. So things like, I was thinking about like the Goofy scenes where it's like Luffy's like sticking chopsticks up his nose and to his mouth,
and they're all parting
on
the
like,
yeah,
will
on the
that
cruise
get
ship.
adapted? I don't know. I don't think like it's so like,
I just want to know.
This is kind of the general, because it's so goofy that like, how do you translate that?
The thing is too, like, I wonder how Frankie, Brooke, and like Chopper are gonna look like. The really
when and if they get there.
That's true. Well, like the crazy characters in East Blue like are kind of really stand out. Like
you're gonna have Axe Hand Morgan. You're gonna have Krieg.
Krieg. You're gonna have the Fishmen.
Yeah.
Like if they get as far as Fishmen are, which
Arlong.
Yeah, Arlong, the Arlong pirates and all that. You're talking actual like shark people. So
okay. So speaking of shark people and whatnot, so I kind of want to transition into a funny like. So casting, who would they cast for? Like, would it be CG, or do they have to actually cast like fish people? Like, are they gonna go to Atlantis and get some fish people? Like,
I mean, if it's
accurate
possible.
Casting. I'm just kidding.
Did you start fishing for them? Like, you there? Can you act? Get out of here!
I'm just kidding. But like to some extent, accurate casting does matter. The thing about my fear, not necessarily a fear, but what I want to know is how they're going to cast in One Piece, because it goes to the same thing where it's like a lot of these properties in anime, there are Asian characters, but to what extent do you hold that a character is Asian canonically? Like One Piece, they're not necessarily Asian.
It's not really mentioned, but like in different parts of the world that they travel to, it's assumed. So you assume like we're in the Wano.
Like Wano, I would think is Asian folk.
Yeah, exactly. And when you go back to like when I look at things with casting, if it's like my big thing is if it's mentioned that they are what they are, then yes, try to keep it that
stick
way.
with it.
So So the thing is, I don't have any problem that Spike in the live action is Asian.
Yeah.
You know, I have no problem with that. But you have to realize that in Bebop, it was never said that he was Asian. He was born on Mars, so he's a Martian.
We're not going to go. Spiegel isn't really an Asian name.
Yeah, exactly. So obviously, there are like variations of like, oh yeah, he looks like. I thought
Ed is Asian though, right? Ed
I could believe it.
Yeah.
Like
I'm pretty sure Ed is Asian.
Yeah. And his brother is too, but he's in suit armor, so it doesn't matter. It's like, oh, why'd you cast?
Oh no, not that Ed in Bebop. Ed in,
I thought you meant Ed in live action. Like,
I mean, we are talking about live action.
I mean Ed in the live action Full Metal Alchemist. Okay,
the live actor FMA to me, they aren't necessarily Asian except for like the guy who I think it's Lee who becomes Greed. Like they're goes Asian.
Yeah.
But like Ed and stuff, like I could see them being European, you know.
Yeah, or especially like the military guys.
Yeah, I mean a lot of it's in a more European setting. Another one is like Attack on Titan, where canonically Mikasa is like the last Asian person.
And then everyone else is either European or whatever.
Makes like Jaeger. So that's kind of a
head German.
You know. So like to an extent, I think casting matters.
Right. I always thought
the setting.
I remember reading this online where before all this Bebop thing was even a thing, when there were talks of a Bebop live action, everyone's like, "Dude, Keanu Reeves should be Spike," and I was like, "Yes." Even more now, but I'm still happy with what they chose.
Yeah.
So the cast for One Piece, do they all have to be Asian? Probably not. Now it is gonna be fascinating when we start seeing who's who, because in my mind I'm like, oh man, who's gonna be the one that's gonna have the rockin' body behind Robin and Nami, you know what I mean? Because you're in a bikini most of the entire.
Well, in East Blue,
they're wearing more clothes.
They're wearing more clothes. Yeah,
so. Especially Robin, cowboy hat and all.
But yeah, I think they would change it to some extent, but I'm not going to be surprised if I see non-Asian folk playing roles. Not that I'm against it or anything, because again, they're not necessarily Asian in One Piece. But I would like to see more Asian folk in those roles, because that'd be kind of dope.
Well, like look at Death Note, like the setting and the people just didn't really.
The American live action.
The American live action. So I know they were trying to bring that story to America, but the thing is, and by the way, it's in Seattle. Are we proud of it? Yeah. Like it's there. It was a thing, but it just didn't really mesh well. And I'm not sure it's because I'm a fan of this series.
Yeah, so because like they did a thing where it's like, because it's obviously Japanese characters set in Japan, some Japanese politics,
right?
But they did a thing where to get around casting Asian folk, they kind of just set it. Well, I mean, they set it in America and gave everyone more Americanized names, Light Turner as opposed to Light Yagami, you know, and
but American person named Light though.
Yeah, so
you get the wonder why that dude picked up the Death Note. He's probably getting roasted at school every day. So he walks in, hey, look, there's more light in here.
Stop, you're terrible. but like in general, like, you know, it doesn't seem to work. Like to me, like I think you need to have. Like, if a character is Asian, give Asian people a chance. Like, there are Asian actors.
Yeah.
Like you know, we can't have ScarJo playing every single Asian role, because, you know, there's only one of her.
Yeah, there's
only one Asian woman named Scarlett Johansson.
I mean, you're right.
I mean, so my thing with Scarlett Johansson is that, like, I know people say, like, she played a cyborg in Ghost in the Shell. Mm-hmm. So it shouldn't matter. But, again, I haven't watched this, and I have had people tell me that, like, she meets her mom at the end of the movie. Oh, spoiler, sorry. She meets her mom at the end of the movie, and she's Asian. She's Japanese. And I'm like, well, then
there you go.
Why can't she be Japanese? Like, but it's a cyborg body. But like,
that's
the whole Ghost in the Shell thing is about Japanese politics, isn't it? Like,
yeah.
So like, I think to an extent it matters, you know.
Yeah. So, well, it was made in America, so we gotta make it Americanized.
So you're gonna have kind of rage on both sides. I'm more towards the side, like, as much as you can have accurate casting and give opportunities to Asian actors for these Asian properties. Like,
well, and going back to like Dragon Ball Z kind of deal, if it was to be a live action, technically, you know, like Goku, he's not Asian, he's a Saiyan. You know, that's a completely
he's an alien.
Yeah, he's an alien. That's a completely different like race kind of deal.
But like JeiShi, you can't argue. JeiShi's supposed to be Asian.
Yeah, for sure.
Wait, hold on. Who played JeiShi?
I didn't watch it. Can't help you there.
If it was Kristen Cook, because I think it was
right,
then she was. Anyway, that's beside the point.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, I know because when you watch anime, you could clearly kind of tell who they're trying to like mimic in terms of like the types of people. Like, let's say if My Hero to have a live action and they brought it to the US, because when you look at the features of a lot of the kids in My Hero, they do have features that don't really stand out in Japanese culture, such as like, you know, really blonde hair kind of deal, maybe a little bit of darker skin kind of deal, and it almost kind of works both ways. But the fact that they say in My Hero that the setting is in Japan, yes, everyone needs to be Japanese kind of deal. Like, this isn't the whole like
like if they would make the live action at My Hero.
Yeah. Like, would there be? I think it'd be good idea to have a live action My Hero.
To me, hair color is such a weak argument, because you can dye people's hair, put wigs on them, you know. But if they're Japanese, they're Japanese. You know, all the characters in My Hero are Japanese.
Well, like Deku's hair is like green.
Yeah.
Spike's hair is green.
Wear a wig.
Yeah, Spike's hair is green, and then you got a lot of people like just. But then like you have other like distinct features like All Might, like that does not look like a Japanese person, dude. That looks like a Mr. Olympian, like Arnold Schwarzenegger, like from freaking like Europe, like jacked and all that stuff. Not saying like Japanese people can't get that shredded, but the way he's portrayed, kind of deal.
I mean, it's unrealistic to an extent, you know.
Yeah, and that's the same with like a lot of anime today. That's why it's like if you really do get a One Piece girl, like we're talking like size 0 waist, but tits that are like double D's.
Apparently, people like that exist out there.
Well, that is called Photoshop, so there's gonna be a lot of CGI in One Piece. Which, by the way, like I'm excited
for this.
Okay, I'm excited for how they're gonna showcase like Luffy's power.
I'm both excited and scared.
You just see a lot of like cutting. You just see a punch, and they cut back to him going like.
Like I'm expecting. So
I just want to see how Frankie
my
looks.
expectations for the CG are just really low, so that I can not be disappointed. Like like in my mind, I feel like it's gonna be terrible, just so that when I watch it, I'm not gonna go into high expectations, be like, oh, it looks like shit.
Right.
I'm just gonna go and be like, if it's good, it's good. I'm like, wow. If it's bad, I'm like, that's what I expected.
Yeah. I mean, we all know that Usopp's nose is gonna be right?
I don't know.
No.
It's all CG.
Everything is CG. Well, with the Lion King one, that was such a weird way to do it, because like the comments I saw were hilarious. Like, this isn't live action. I'm like, no crap.
Technically, it's not.
It's not, because yes, we're gonna get real lions and just voice over the lions like Simba. Heel. But couldn't put him back. They're just like pulling on like the leash, like,
and they had to get like the whole animal kingdom to like do the dances.
Some
and
of those
they got to teach all of them.
Some of those animals are extinct. So like, what are they gonna do now? In the end, it's all possible, and I have nothing against them trying to like bring something that's great and put it here. Yeah. I'm just against if they do it right. And like we've said it 1,000 times, but it's like,
so what are your final thoughts on live actions?
Well, again, like you, I'm excited for the One Piece one. I'm excited for the Cowboy Bebop one. The Naruto being hinted at, I think that's a cool one. I think at this point, if they're gonna do more live actions, I'd probably say stick to series that aren't super crazy supernatural kind of deal, because that's what makes them fun. The whole supernatural like powers and the balls to the wall craziness is what makes a lot of anime fun and a lot easier to consume kind of deal. Because that means I am gonna watch the Mob Psycho 100 live action now, because you know that series is like insane kind of deal. They should make an Agretzko one, but that's all animals. I don't know. I just think that they could do what they want, but overall it's just be prepared for the kind of criticisms you're going to get.
Yeah.
And again, us anime fans like criticizing all the live action media that's being given to us, really we're just a small voice in like the big audience, because everyone watches movies, but not everyone watches anime. So
I agree.
Let's just hope for the best, honestly. Like we'll get there when we get there.
Yeah, I honestly just think so my final thoughts are pretty much just whether it's a Japanese audience or a Japanese production company or Japanese studio or Hollywood that's producing the movie, you know.
Or what about Bollywood, man? Bollywood.
Sure, Bollywood. Let's throw that in there. Anime to live action is not safe in any of those regards. You could still have a botched movie. I think in general, you just need to have someone who respects the material to an extent and is creative enough to change it without changing too much. I also just think that, like, to an extent, accurate casting matters. You know, give more roles to the Asian folk because we don't got those roles already.
Right.
But, you know, again, as long as it matters to that extent. Like, you know, like Attack on Titan, you know, it's mostly European folk, so you don't really need an Asian character other than Mikasa. Yeah. What else do I want to say? I'm excited for these live actions, even though they typically don't get warm reception. You know, but at the same time, I think my big thing is, just because it can be turned into a live action doesn't mean it should. Right. A lot of this stuff was meant to be consumed in manga or anime format and not necessarily a live action format. Right. So that's why it doesn't always translate well.
Even though it is possible to do the crazy like mechs.
Yeah.
Like with Pacific Rim, we could probably get a Gurren Lagann one.
Yeah, sure.
Or a Gridman one.
Or okay? NGE.
Or NGE. You know, obviously that's most likely been talked about quite a bit. Is there any? So real quick, is there any other series that personally you think it'd be cool to see live action? Not necessarily, but what in your mind is like, let's see that live action, see how that turns out.
I mean, again, like you said, like I think Gundam would be cool because I feel like Hollywood have that potential to do.
And it's great. The whole thing
NGE.
The whole thing on war with Gundam. Like if you want to relate it to like America, war is bad, peace, blah blah blah. Kind of deal. NGE is more of like fighting against aliens, and you know we love movies fighting against aliens.
Honestly, just a lot of any of the slice of life series that are good. Maybe even a K on live action. I don't know.
Yeah, I'd be down for that. My dark horse. How'd you been to Ippo? I know you've never seen Ippo, but that's just.
I mean, that would work. Creed.
Yeah, see, it's all about boxing. Yeah, that's all it is. So. I don't know. Well, we'll see what happens in the future when it comes to One Piece. Maybe we might do a One Piece episode in the future. Live action maybe. One Piece episode.
Maybe. But again, let us know if there's anything else we can improve on. We'd obviously change things again for this episode.
You'll know that. Everything's the same. You'll know that.
Everything's the same. No, we're still improving everything, adding more lights, potentially adding more cameras in the future, background and whatnot. But let us know if there's anything we can improve on. Let us know if there are any live actions that you want to see or are excited to see in the future.
Is there a pop figure you want to see showcased here? Because guaranteed, whatever pop you say, 8-Bit probably has it.
I can't make that promise, but maybe.
We will make that. No, now I have to buy it. No, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm 8-Bit Kevin.
I'm ATonOfBacon. We'll see you guys in the next one.
Bye.